To OTR. Adam Reid, same thing, and congratulations. You got a new job. You're the host of Kitchen Spaces on the Learning Channel.
Because of this show. So thank you very much.
How's that?
They saw this show and they called my agent, and I'm looking forward to more opportunities.
So you are a guest on the show and you get a better job than me.
How
does that work out? That makes me mad.
Mark
Brender, I love your job because everyone loves your organization. It's called Right to Play. You're the director, the deputy director, and you've just got back from where?
From Tanzania.
Awesome. Tell us more about that later on. Not surprisingly, Paul Maurice, you just heard him, likes his team. 30 coaches in July. They all do. Last year at this time, Ken Hitchcock thought his Flyers would surprise, and Gerard Gallant thought it was going to be a good year in Columbus. We know how that worked out. After 2 post-lockout failures, has Toronto improved enough with Toskala, Mark Bell, and Jason Blake to be positive about the future?
I think they've improved enough to be positive about the immediate future, because I still think that overall they're a fairly aged team, and they're good enough now, I think, with the improvements they've made, the slight alterations, to be a playoff team, considering they narrowly missed last year. If you're talking about, are they a Stanley Cup contender? No. Are they a playoff contender? Yes.
I'd have to agree to a certain degree with what you're saying, but I'd also have to disagree in the sense that a big problem with the Maple Leafs has always been management. It's always been the hierarchy of command, that Ferguson doesn't have control over his team. These are trades. I mean, the Rask trade, Toskala, we saw it before when the opening sequence with Balfour and Raycroft. This has been a storied franchise that's always made the same mistakes. And I think we were talking about this earlier in the sense that the main core of players on this team is back. There's question mark with Matt Sundin. You've got McCabe, who's overly paid, and you've got a goalie that we still don't know to this degree can do it.
You can't say management has always forever been the problem. Eventually, at some point, you got to bring it to the players, and so many teams in the NHL have stepped up and have done it when they weren't supposed to. Right. This team never has, and I think you can indict Andrew Raycroft for not having a very good year last year. Toskala, I think, was a good acquisition only because he can play, but it is an indictment that Raycroft didn't work out.
Those 3 guys are going to help the team, obviously, but I think it's more in a whole team concept. If all those guys play better, they will be better. And like you said, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup. They might make the playoffs, but
I'm surprised, Mark, honestly, I'm surprised that you turn around and say that it's not management, because everybody knows that it's clear that there's a serious problem in management, in the hierarchy, the way that they run their team. Ferguson wasn't even given a contract, an extension contract compared to Maurice.
Toronto always want to blame the management, and it's never the guys on the ice. And it's
but if they're not putting on a product on the ice that's satisfying the demand, why are they not being held accountable? They are being held accountable. How many changes has this happened for? John Ferguson's been here, what, 2 years? Last year was the first year that he had the chance to build his own team. Right.
Fine. So we got Toskala. He's done the job there. If Mark Bell flops again, not good.
Well,
Jason Blake.
Let me interrupt, because the question was not to revisit the past. The question was to look ahead. And I think John has made some outstanding moves in this offseason. Jason Blake, no one's going to say that's a bad move. 40 goals, inspirational type player. Vesa Toskala, an upgrade. I think we all agree Vesa Toskala gives them better goaltending, right?
And the big thing about Toskala is that he won a job in San Jose. He was a nobody. He was a nothing. Nabokov gets hurt, and he plays his butt off, wins a job, and so you're not getting a guy who is washed up, who is old already,
I'm not saying that they're not going to make a
downside.
difference. What I'm saying is I think that in the core of it, yes. I mean, obviously a guy like Jason Blake and Mark Bell and all these guys are going to be great. The thing is that the core of this team, the Toronto Maple Leaf core, has not changed.
You can't change the core. You can't change the core overnight.
No, and that's fine. But I'm saying that to expect huge, a huge step forward is not something I think is realistic.
We're agreeing with you for sure.
What are you trying to say here?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
I think what he's doing is patronizing you. We agree with you, Adam. Hold on, because you're talking about changing the core. No one is going to say you should change the core of the Ottawa Senators, although last year at this time, everybody said you should change the core of the Ottawa Senators. They really haven't made any moves at all. They've lost a few players. But does this team have to upgrade, given the fact that they beat 3 excellent teams in the playoffs in the East in 5 games?
Well, I don't think you necessarily have to improve when you look at their core, but I think any team, Leafs, Senators, anybody, if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards. You're standing still. You've got to continue to try and improve your team. You can't just sit back and say, well, we're good enough, so we'll just see what happens.
And the difference between Toronto and Ottawa is Toronto has to improve in the offseason. Yes. If they don't do something now, they're toast. Ottawa can do it.
Anybody who turned around and looked at the core of the Ottawa Senators and said there needed to be change is somebody I think is extremely delusional.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry,
Michael.
Come on.
That team was producing every single year. They were a flop in the playoffs for a couple of years, and everybody knew last year, because they were under the radar, that they would do well. Unfortunately, and I have to be honest, I turned around and thought that the Pittsburgh might have a chance against Ottawa last round. But when you look at what they're doing and what they're putting on ice, they don't need a massive change the way that Toronto does.
Though, with Ottawa last last year, and I think it could be the big question with Toronto this year then, was I think Ray Emery. Last year in the offseason, you're wondering, can this guy carry the load? Will he take them through? He did. This year now, everybody's saying the Toscala, signing is great, or making the deal for him, that's all fine and good, but is he proven enough to say that, yes, he's going to be that much better than Raycroft?
And we already know this,
and that's why I'm saying there is a question mark.
There's 3 guys in the league like that. So who do you got? You got Mario Brodeur, you might still have Hasek, Kiprusoff, Henrik Lundqvist, and there's nobody else.
There's probably 5 guys. And I wouldn't say everybody else. And you're not getting one of those
right now is proving to be an asset as far as the Blue Jays are concerned. I think he's got to stick to the game plan. I think you have to go with the game. If the game becomes a little bit more heated than usual, then I think you adapt to the situation. But the truth is you go with what you have right now. You stick to your game plan. I don't think you have the opportunity, the luxury to be able to afford anything.
You had Josh Towers, the first time he faces Rodriguez, had better not leave stuff out over the plate because everybody in the world is going to be asking why you didn't come inside, and he better come inside on one of those first 3 pitches. I'm not saying throw at the guy's head, but there better be something over the inner half of the plate.
Guys in the dugout ready to brawl.
Well, which is why you're not throwing it. Which is why you're not throwing it his head.
But what does that serve? What does it serve to send a message like that, where not only are you infuriating, you're inflaming the other team, you're also giving the possibility of the other team of taking a lot more personally.
You're not infuriating. You're not inflaming. You're establishing respect because every guy in the Yankees dugout will respect Josh Towers a little more.
Until they think it's a lack of respect for you to throw like that.
No, you're not throwing it at the guy. You're putting it here. He has control. He knows where he's putting it. You're not throwing it at the guy's head. You're putting it here. And he has the control to do that, and if he's not, he shouldn't be pitching.
The problem I have with baseball etiquette, though, is it's bad baseball etiquette to yell mine as you're running past a guy, yet it's not bad to go into second base or third base, spikes up, taking a guy out, or sweeping across the bag wide at second to break up a double.
You're not showing hockey, though. In hockey, it's bad etiquette to put ice shavings in the goaltender's face, right? Yeah. But it's not necessarily bad etiquette to do some really violent stuff.
But then that's the ridiculous thing, though. It's okay to do this, but it's okay to throw at a guy to send a message to get back because he yelled in your ear. If you're a professional baseball player, you should know you're going for the ball either way.
No, you're not saying you're throwing at a guy, but if a guy slides wide on a double play at second base, that's baseball. If a guy comes in to break up a double play, it's baseball.
But your reasoning is
one at a time.
I'm just surprised because you're saying that your reasoning is that's baseball. I think you brought up a very good point. There's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a double standard. And when you look at what some people are doing on the field, I just don't understand that etiquette, so to speak, like you were talking about before.
If you think that the rules of baseball should be changed, that's one thing. And there's a good argument in hockey that people say headshots should be hurt, but nobody's running around when a guy comes through the middle of the ice with his head down.
Great point.
And someone delivers a clean hit. No one's shouting hypocrisy.
I think I speak for Blue Jay fans. Throw at him, pay him back. I'm not saying throw at his head, but make a statement. Because you know what? It can galvanize a team.
It does, for
sure. And an OTR would appreciate it because tomorrow we are all over that. A-Rod, as hard as this is to believe, can opt out of his contract. His agent, Scott Boras, says the bidding will begin at $30 million a season. He's one of the best regular season players ever. But with the Yankees since 2004, they haven't done anything. Aren't doing anything right now. Is A-Rod a must-get for a team that can afford him?
I think if you can afford him, you go out and get the guy. Now, granted, I know he hasn't done a lot in the postseason, and that's the biggest knock on the guy, but you can't argue what he's done. And I don't think it's fair, Michael, to put it on him and say he hasn't done much for the New York Yankees since coming there. He has put up the individual numbers. He's done his job. If the team around him hasn't been as good as a team, that's not all on A-Rod.
Guys like winners, though. You mean like people should pay the money to the people that have won championships.
And that's
the biggest reason why you want to go ahead and pay somebody $30 million, especially like Rodriguez, is the fact that you don't want him on another team. And if you have the pockets to go ahead and if you have the deep enough pockets to be able to sign a guy like that, you sign them out because you definitely don't want to be going up against like that.
Who do you want on your team?
He's proving to be
Mark, who do you want on your team, Rodriguez or Jeter?
I'd take Jeter over Rodriguez.
Everybody wants Jeter, right? Is it Jeter going to get $30 million? Not a chance. So it shows you this guy isn't worth his money when every GM in the league wants Derek Jeter instead of Rodriguez. Exactly. Why? Because he wins. And he makes everybody else better. And Rodriguez goes into a clubhouse, and I don't care if he hits 70 home runs.
But Jeter was not going to win too, right? Since over the same period of time.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. People want Jeter, and Jeter's not available. And A-Rod is, as you put. And I wasn't attributing the blame to him. I'm just saying that if you sign A-Rod, it's not like another sport, right? Your sport, basketball. If you get Shaquille O'Neal and he's healthy, your chances of winning the championship go up dramatically. I'm not sure you can have the same impact on baseball because you're one of 9 guys in the batting order.
So, but by that argument, then I don't say that, well, he hasn't won much as a part of this team, so we don't try to bring him back. I think the Yankees, if he wants to opt out, I think the Yankees should step up and say, all right, we were paying you 25. We would have rather you stayed with your contract. We'll pay you 30 now. I think he's still.
Can I cut you guys off? Capono, a good signing before we go?
Yes. It's underwhelming, but I still think it's good enough. He's going to fit into the system.
Will they be improved this year? They had the huge improvement last year. Really only one change, Peterson out, Capono in.
I think they'll be a better team, yes.
Adam Reid. So people are watching the show. Someone watched the show, and they said what?
Yeah, they called my agent up and they said, we want you to be the host of Kitchen Spaces. That's going very well. I'm still on promotional tour with sportsbookfantasy.com and new hotspot in Montreal, Wilson's Supper Club. Beautiful people, beautiful place, celebrities. You should check it out.